finished the 2 rectangles and you're ready to get started and really pull this piece together. But first we have to weave in our ends. Now I'm a big stickler about weaving in your ends because I don't like to just crochet over them, especially if it's going to be something that you're going to wear. It's really unsightly to have the ends pop out when you don't want them to. So if you use a bent tip tapestry needle, all I want you to do is thread the tail of your yarn wherever you cut it off on your needle, and then we will weave in the ends. My preferred method is to go in towards the project, like the body of the project, and pull in. And then you'll notice that I will skip over and come back out the same direction. So I've skipped over one so it doesn't just come out wherever I came just in. And as I pull out, I'm going to pull it a little bit so that I make sure it's not super tight. And then I will go back in one more time. So I'm going to grab over here at the edge and I'm coming back in. What this does is it really makes that yarn have to work to be able to get out because it's got several directions it needs to go. Then I have that. I go ahead and I can snip my tail nice and close because my end is woven in. You want to weave in all of your tails first before you seam it up, just because it makes it easier to not have extra yarn waving around. It's all nice and tidy and it's ready to move forward. Once you've woven in your ends, we can seam the piece together. You can see here as I bring in my 2 little gauge swatches here that I'm ready to seam these together. Now the first thing you will notice is that I ended with a color B, and I did that because for the video I wanted you to be able to see what my chain side was versus my finished side. So you will have your beginning and your end be the same color, but I chose to do mine a different color because I wanted to be able to show you how that would look. Now, in the instructions, it says that with color A, you will use that to seam up these 2 pieces together. Essentially, you want to use the color that is the color you're working into. So for me, I'm working into this green color, the leaf, so I will use leaf to seam these together. I want to make sure that I have the same sides facing each other. So these are the right sides, and I can tell that because of my finishing. So right here, if I set them like this, I can see my nice V-stitches that were created. So those were both the right side. Now, do I want my seam on this side or the opposite side? I like to have my seam on the right side because the way I'm going to show you how to seam, it puts the seam edge on the inside. Let me show you what I mean. Take your tapestry needle and the color yarn, the same color as the stitches you're going to be working into, and take a length of yarn that you know will get you through half of the Ruana. Now remember, I'm using little sample sizes here. Yours is going to be much larger. Go ahead, thread your yarn onto your tapestry needle. Once you do that, you will begin to seam your Ruana up to the halfway point of the Ruana. So if you want to find the halfway point, you could take both rectangles, fold them in half, and you can place a marker at each one of those points. For me, let me grab my crochet hook here. I was just going to use a string of yarn, so some of the yarn I had lying around. Now I'm just going to pull one end through at my halfway point. So I want to make sure they match up so that way I don't have one side that seamed a little bit more than the other. And you'll be able to tell that a little bit more as well as you're working along. So as I have those there marked out, let's pull them this way, I can make sure they look relatively even to me. So I will seam up to that point. I think that's the best point there. So to start off, I take my tapestry needle and I will begin with a figure 8 down at the bottom to join my yarn. So it doesn't matter if you start on the right side or the left side, whatever works best for you, but I'm going in to the right side. And I'm going to pull up, leaving a tail, come across the corresponding side and go up the left side. And then come back over here to where I began and go up one more time. All that does is secure my yarn right there at the very beginning. Now what I'm going to do is what I like to call the lace-up stitch. So what I will do is I'm going to go underneath this V and come up the next V and pull up. Come over here to this side, go under that V and come up that one. go under this one, and come up that one. And I'm doing it all the way across. So I'm going in where I came out and going up the next one. And you can see where it begins to look sort of like a lace. In and then back up. I'll do this all the way up to my marked stitches. You will also notice that I'm not pulling it real tight here at the beginning, just because I want you to be able to see how this looks and going along. Plus, it's easier for me to see where I came out versus where I need to go back in. But at the end here, I will give it a nice pull, and it's going to pull everything together. So I think, I see it came out there. Let's go up this one. I know I marked that one, but I think I needed to go up one higher. There and there. And let's give this a pull. I'm going to take my markers out. Real simple. Get rid of it. There we are. So right here, you can see this is where I've threaded it up. And so if I take my tail and I take this yarn and I just pull it, okay? See how it's pulling it? It pulls the two together and it puts that seam on the inside. So I'm going to come back over here and I will finish off with a figure 8. So I will go in and around. I'll just come down here and I'll do the same thing as best I can. And if I pop my needle directly into the seam, pull out, turn my work over, now I have this nice big bulge right here that I can use to just weave in my tail, right? I don't have to worry about going into any other stitches. I just come down a couple ways on this big seam, and I can go back up, just like so. So that's not going to come undone. Snip my yarn, go back to the bottom here where I have this tail, and I can do the same thing with this tail because it's already attached. We did that with the figure 8. So again, I just have to weave in my tail so it doesn't come loose. And I'm not a big fan of crocheting over my tails. I think they come loose too often. So it's best to take the time to weave in your tails like this, especially if you're spending this long making something. Snip that closed. Now, my little mini Ruana is ready. Now, when it comes to edging, the biggest thing edging is that we're going to clean up these spaces down here where we have the floats from the color changes. So we will do that by doing reverse single crochet in one of the colors. So you can choose which color you want to use. The pattern states that it wants you to use color B. You can absolutely do that. It's totally up to you. So that's what we will do next.